Most people talk about starting a business. Well, my guest today started two businesses in the same year, and she did it after spending nearly 20 years helping other people build theirs. Stephaney Bolden went from business development officer to founder of Bold Changes Property Maintenance and the East Collaboration Trade Show. She's not here to tell you she's figured it all out. She's here because she's in the trenches right now, executing daily. And she's got real lessons from the first year of building something from scratch. So today, we're talking about what happens when you finally stop building everyone else's dream and start building your own. The seasonal walls, the temptation to do everything solo, and how one business problem led to creating a whole second company. This is the Execution Lab. I'm DeAndre. Let's work.
Execution phase. Welcome to the Execution Lab.
All right, Stephaney, welcome to the Execution Lab. So you're running two businesses right now. Bold Changes Property. Look, you see, I know that's right. Bold Changes Property Maintenance and the East Collaboration Trade Show. So for the people hearing those names for the first time, break down what each one does and the problem that it solves.
Sure. So Bold Changes Property Maintenance is basically a business that I created to fulfill a need of my own. I needed someone to basically clean my windows. But as I was trying to find that individual, I was getting callbacks from people far from my home. And there was like upcharges because of that reason. Then I said, why don't I just do it myself? So there was a need and I wanted to fill it. So Bold Changes actually transforms residences as well as business owners their properties by window washing, pressure cleaning, landscaping, gutter cleaning. We try to do the gambit. And how the program works is that I'm the referral source. So I source local business owners to perform these jobs. So that way I'm building my community as well as getting the job done.
Every week, I sit down with entrepreneurs who are doing the work. These are people who are building businesses while working full-time jobs. These are people who failed, learned, and kept going. And I need your help to keep bringing you these conversations. You see, when you subscribe, you're not just getting notified about new episodes, you're telling the algorithm that this content matters. You're helping more people find it. You're keeping the Execution Lab alive. It's free. It takes about 2 seconds, but it makes a real difference for a podcast like this, one that's built from the ground up. So if this podcast has helped you, encouraged you, or given you something to think about, hit that subscribe button. Help me keep bringing you the content. So let's get back to the conversation. Great. So talk about really quick, then we're going to hop back the East Collaboration Trade Show. Then we're going to come back and we're going to hone in on that a little bit later.
Sure. All right. So the East Collaboration Trade Show is focused on bringing together small business owners on the east side of Atlanta. And what we're doing is we've sourced a venue at the Georgia International Horse Park where our business owners will be divided into 4 sections. We have the kids zone, we have the vendor village, we have the home and garden section, as well as the business and community resource section. And we also have a speed networking event that allows our business owners to connect one-on-one. So it's basically an opportunity for our business owners to get in front of the influx of people that have moved into this area.
Oh, I want to go back for a second. So you spent 20 years as a business development officer, basically helping other people build and fund their businesses. What was the moment when you said, okay, it's my turn now?
All right. So what moved me to start this business and is basically, like I said, there was a need and I really wanted more flexibility in my life. And being a business owner gave me that opportunity. And after 20 years of just struggling for someone else and helping them grow their business, it was time for me to do something for myself. And also at the time when I started this business, my son was in his last year of high school, and I wanted an opportunity to be able to spend more time with him and just, engage in the different things that he was involved in. And this allowed me the opportunity to do so.
Great. Let me ask you a question, because a lot of entrepreneurs, especially the ones watching this episode, this podcast here, are kind of in that kind of middle range in there. They may be working a 9 to 5 and maybe doing something on the side, but they kind of feel the pull to go full time into that entrepreneurship. Let me ask you a question. Was it scary walking away from a stable paycheck with a kid about to graduate? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I had, and it wasn't so much the fact that the kid was about to graduate, it was the fact that insurance, that was
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
concern. I was like, I'm getting older, you know, and I was concerned as like, how am I going to pay for those, things? If something were to happen to me, what was I going to be able to do?
Mm,
But I took it on faith. I said, it's now or never. This was the best time. I had saved some money because I had intended to do it at some point. So I made
mhm.
sure that I had a cushion in case anything did come up. And I just said, it's time. And I went out there on faith, and it's been good.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me, when you launched out, because you did bold changes first, right?
Yes.
And so you walked out bold, you walked out on faith. Those first 90 day of bold changes. Tell me how that went. I know you said you joined the Chamber of Commerce, you joined networking groups. So how was those first 90 days? What all were you doing?
Now, because of the background that I had as being a business development officer and
Hmm.
going into new markets, I always had to develop the organization's reputation.
Yeah.
So basically we were always coming into the market fresh. So I just took the same skills that I did with that, and I just did it for myself. So in doing that, I had to make sure that I was getting into the public view. So that's where the chamber came in. I
Hmm.
joined the chambers, and I joined network groups, any business groups that were meeting so that I could get connected. And these individuals became my salespeople in
Yeah.
essence, because as they got to know me, they were also looking for opportunities to share what I was doing so that I didn't have to do it all by myself in essence, so I had a team by joining these groups because they were also spreading my mission.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. You said something very important there, that you still had to go to the groups. You still had to get out.
Oh, yeah.
There's a saying, I don't know who came up with it, but they said that networking is net working.
So true,
You
so
still got
true.
you still got to work. You don't want that
Yeah,
net.
that is the truth.
Yeah, yeah,
But
absolutely, and
it's it's
it's
it's really
your business
good.
now, so yeah, so your activity is based off, okay, what do you do? That's your success is based off of you now and you alone, and so that is extremely important. Let me ask you about that first job, that first paying job that you got, that first client that you got. How did it come in? What did it feel like when you earned, like, the first revenue for your company?
It was exhilarating
Yeah,
because the first job, when I started initially, it was interesting because the guy that I used to do the windows, because like I said, I outsourced the work with
mhm.
local. So the price that he gave me was a little steep. And I was like, no one's gonna do this. In my
Is
mind,
it
he said,
crazy?
I've been doing this for 30 years. Trust me. Trust the process.
Yeah,
Just go ahead, give them the amount. And if they wanted the job done, they'll pay it.
yeah,
So I did it. I gave him, and it was exciting because that was, the house was huge. And so, it was a two-story home, you know, and he needed gutters and windows and everything. So it was
wow,
a hefty price, but they paid it, and it was it was good to see that money coming in, and I was
yeah.
like, okay, we can do this. So that actually helped to motivate me to go out there and do this because it wasn't my fear anymore. I wasn't fearing that the price was too high because people were actually, willing to pay.
Let me ask you something. How many times have you told yourself this is the year and then watched another year pass without the same results? How many books are sitting on your shelf you've read but never applied? How many goals are still on your vision board from 2, 3, maybe 5 years ago? Look, and I'm not here to make you feel bad. I've been there. I know what it's like to have the vision but feel stuck in the same place. And here's what I've learned after years of studying this, living this, and helping others break through. You don't have an information problem. You have an execution problem. And the solution is not another course. It's not more motivation. The solution is getting clear on what exactly is blocking your execution, the patterns you can't see, the beliefs you don't even know you're carrying, and building a strategy that's specific to you. That's exactly what we do on the one-on-one execution strategy call. 60 minutes, just you and me, no fluff, no generic advice. We're going to go, we're going to get clear on exactly what you want, not what you think you should want. We're going to identify the hidden blocks that have been killing your execution without you even realizing it. And we're going to build a personalized action plan with real steps that you can execute immediately. Now listen, let me be clear. It's not a rah-rah motivation session. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. And if you're not ready for that, if you want somebody else, just going to hype you up, this is not for you. But if you're tired of planning and ready to start executing, if you know you're capable of more, you're done making excuses for why it hadn't happened yet. If you're ready to close that gap between knowing and doing, listen, scroll down or scroll back up and book your session right now, because here's the truth. Knowledge without execution is just entertainment. And on this call, the entertainment stops and the execution starts. I'll see you there. Yeah, that's great. And so you do that job, do some other jobs, and then eventually, but you said that you hit a wall. You said that winter hit and the business kind of slowed down. You said you hadn't been advertising, you were kind of depending on your networking, your connections and all that. So what did that dry spell feel like financially and emotionally?
Well, with that, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to create the second business, to be
Yeah.
able to get some exposure, some visual exposure in the community. So that's what made me think about, what can I do? And I've always wanted, in the past, I've always done the trade show, or not necessarily trade show, but we did events for my past business where I had to, organize different vendors to come in and speak about funding, because that's what we did. But in this case, I had to do it all by myself. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, with doing so, I said, how can I use what the skills that I learned previously to, get the exposure for my business? And
Let me interrupt you so you said something, and I want to make sure people caught that. So you said the business was slow, and so you said, let me create a trade show. That is interesting. Talk about that a little bit more, just kind of the mindset behind that, because normally what businesses do, they say business is slow, and the first thought okay, I got to go get a job. And a lot of times that's the first default. Business is slow, let me go get a job because I still need money. So talk me through what allowed you to kind of switch and say, okay, this business is slow right here, but I have this other idea, let me try that.
okay, so with that, it's like, this is something that I really always wanted to do, was the trade
Yeah.
show. But why I decided to do that is because these business owners that I was coming across, they all were craving an opportunity to get into the public view. And I said,
Yeah.
okay, let's do something together. Let's collaborate. That's why it's called East Collaboration Trade
Mm-hmm.
Show. So this is allowing all of us to have a premier showcase. And as we were looking around, there were so many houses being built in this area, and they could all use what
Yeah.
our skills. So I was like, how can I connect the two? So that's
Yeah.
why, the formation of the East Collaboration Trade Show came into play. And the reason why we decided to call the first edition the Home and Garden, because I was trying to figure out now what would attract people. And I said, people love to go out to home and garden events. So I said that would be, the name, the draw for people. And then we would always, have allowed them to bring their kids. So that's why we have the kids zone. And then as business owners, we need resources. We need access to different resources. So
Yeah.
I said, I'll bring those people into the room so everybody gets to be connected. So we're going to have, insurance, tax preparers. We even have Home Depot coming.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
big.
and they're talking about, the Path to Pro program that they have available. We have Verizon Digital Ready. We have individuals in there that can help support our business owners, as well as, they can support the things that the community people, the residents could utilize as well.
Who all will be there other than just the home
The
and
Home and
garden and
Garden.
the people you already mentioned?
Okay, so we have a wide variety of vendors, craft people, artists, authors. We have individuals there that will have an opportunity to promote their skills and their creativity. This is a platform for them to really show off. This is what I'm doing, support me, but you'd be surprised the different levels of skills that our community has, and this is their opportunity.
Awesome, awesome. And for everyone watching right now, we'll definitely put the information below this video in the description about how to connect with Stephanie and be a part of this trade show that's coming up on March 28th. And so I want to ask you a question. So you launched Bold Changes in January of 2025
Correct?
and had the trade show concept by November of that same year. That's
Yes.
less than a year between starting your first business and launching your second one. Some people would say that's too much, too fast. What were you thinking? Like, what
Well,
what would you say to that?
sometimes the opportunity arises and you just have to go
Yeah.
for it. So in this case, since Bold Changes is slow, it actually gave me time to be
Mm,
able to focus on the East Collaboration Trade Show. Now, if I was busy doing lawns or, washing windows, not to say that I'm not washing windows, I'm still doing storefronts. And so we have, clients that we do on the regular, but when it comes to the more flexibility I have, since I'm not doing lawns, that gave me a time to focus on contacting vendors
mm.
and really, focus on getting sponsorships, as well as, the fundamentals for the second business, because I wasn't so entrenched in Bold Changes.
Yeah, yeah. And you kind of went into my next question. So the trade show is March 28th. What are you doing right now? Because this podcast is about execution. Every single day you have to get up and do something. So what does your daily action plan look like for the next several weeks?
Sure. So I'm
Yeah,
on the phone constantly.
yeah.
Right now, we do have some Facebook ads that are going out there to try to generate leads for vendors. So that's going constantly. Then in the evening, so that basically goes on all the time. And then from about 12:30 to 6, I'm on the phone or attending
Mm,
some networking event, Usually in the morning, I'm attending some kind of networking event, and then in the evening, I'm making calls, returning calls for leads, meeting with individuals that want to learn more about what we're doing. And it's been successful. I have to say, we've gotten some sponsorships. We
yeah.
have a bank that's working with us that's actually sponsored. So it's making an impact. And individuals are excited about it, especially our business owners. They're excited to have the opportunity to showcase what they're doing.
Awesome. Awesome. Let me ask you something. Let me go back just a little bit. You spent 20 years helping other business owners get established, get funded, as we mentioned earlier. What's the number one thing that you found now that you saw successful business owners do that struggling ones didn't? And then have you applied any of that to yourself and your businesses?
I know one thing that we've always told our business owners when they're coming for funding: make sure that you don't leave your day job.
Yeah.
Now, in my case, I did. I did, but I had the cushion to support me during that time. And so that has helped me. But the thing that I think is essential for me is just staying connected in the community, because if I try to do everything by myself, I, you know, I'd be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So as a business owner, that's what I've found valuable. Don't try to take it on by yourself. So I've had
Yeah.
to hire people, to help support me. So I actually have someone who helps me with the ads and developed a platform that helps me to keep track of all of my leads and the funding that's coming in. So, and I even had a business coach. So when I got started, with bold changes, I started with a business coach because
Yeah.
even though I knew how to get funding, I've never really, I had the daycare that was different, but and that was at home. This is totally
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
structure. And I didn't know all of the nuances and business. And when I had the daycare, that was like over 20 years ago.
Right.
So this is a totally different area. So that's why I needed someone to help guide me. And I think that it's important that you understand your limitations and utilize the resources that are out there so that you can be successful.
Yeah. And that's so important that for 20 years you help businesses. And when you launched yours, you went and sought help. You sought a mentor. That is extremely important. That is extremely important. People always learn.
Oh
That's
yeah,
one of my mantras. Like I cannot wake up and I cannot go to sleep without learning something. Every day I gotta learn something. And so
for
that's
sure.
so important. I'm glad you said that. Cause some people are like, well, I've been doing this 20 years. I know what to do. I know what I'm doing. But giving advice and actually utilizing the advice that you've been given is totally different. Totally
So
different. And
true.
so appreciate you bringing that out. You also mentioned something about your advice was don't give up. You also said that success takes consistency and to utilize your networks. And so talk about one of those three or all three, never give up, success takes consistency, and how to utilize your networks.
Okay, so never give up. Um, It takes time. You asked said about the in the first 90 days. I didn't get my first client in the first 30 days. It took a while. It
Yeah.
was probably
Yeah.
in that 90th day when I got that client, because I had to develop certain things. I was still in the trying to determine how to even do my pitch, because I was still learning a lot in those, 90 days. So once, things started moving, it helped, but you're still going to hit, roadblocks as you're
Yeah.
growing, as the business is developing, but you have to keep that stride because what they say is that you learn from failure. So if you
Yeah.
give up, you won't learn, so you have to keep, you know, kicking the rock in the road because
Yeah.
eventually it's going to turn over
Yeah.
and you're going
Yeah.
to see success, but it won't happen if you stop.
Yeah, years ago, I read a book. I don't even know who wrote it now, but the title of that book was "Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn." You don't lose. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, and that was kind of
Yeah.
the premise of that book. So that's extremely important. You define success as getting referred by clients. How do you intentionally build that? Do you ask for referrals? Do you follow up with past clients? Do you have a system for that?
Right now, it's been just word of mouth. People have seen jobs that I've done and they've referred me based on that. And when I see that, it helps me to, builds more momentum in what I'm doing because I see that there is success because they're pleased with it enough to refer me to someone else. So right now, I don't have a referral system, but still growing and that
Yeah.
may be put in place.
Yeah. Well, no. I appreciate that honesty. And you said something else when you sent your question back to me that really caught my eye. It really stood out to me. You said you're still seeking your breakthrough. And,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of podcast guests, and I've seen, on YouTube, well, people on there, they go on, they talk about their wins and successes. And, that's all good and fine, but sometimes people want to hear the real. So let me ask you a question. Why is it important for you to be brutally honest about where you really are right now?
Yeah. I'm still I just started in 2025. Sometimes it takes, I've heard that it takes maybe 7 years, 5 to 7 years before you actually start, seeing, substantial amount of income. And
Yeah,
right now I'm just getting by. And oftentimes I'm putting more in than I'm getting out. But that's the beginning. You have to. You cannot expect to open a business and make money instantly. It takes
yeah,
time, you know, even the best, but once you find that niche and once you've developed a system and then people start to know you, then things will start to flow. And still in that building stage. That's
yeah.
where I am. And, I accept that. I understand that it is a process.
Absolutely. I'm gonna give you a quote. One of the guys I mentioned, I follow him on YouTube. I call him one of my mentors, even though I hadn't never met him. He doesn't know who I am. But I watch his channel all the time. Omar. Omar has this quote. He says, I'm gonna read it. He says, intentional consistency leads to indirect opportunity. Intentional consistency leads to indirect opportunity. So he said, whatever you're doing, just as long as you're intentionally consistent about it, there's some indirect opportunity that's going to happen that you didn't even expect.
Mm. So true.
But they don't come unless you're being consistent. And so that consistency is the key. Intentional consistency leads to
Yeah,
indirect opportunity. So let me
I
ask you, Steph,
agree.
so yeah, yeah. So what do you see both of your businesses in 12 months? So if we had you back on the execution lab a year from now, what would you want to report back to us and say how the business is going now?
I would love to say that Bold Changes has a consistent referral base where individuals are now reaching out to me and I'm able to connect them with solid and consistent business owners that are fulfilling their needs. And then, as far as East Collab, I really want to continue doing our home and garden show annually. So this is just the first round. And my goal is to actually have various events throughout the year because I would like to do an all about the money, the next one, or even, just I really want to be able to provide quality education for our community. And I think, you know, bringing these shows here to this side of the Atlanta, it's important because oftentimes when people hear about the home and garden show, it's up north of Atlanta or
Yeah.
it's in Atlanta, but there's nothing over on this side. So that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do something here to, basically bring presence and, visibility to these business owners and give them a platform that's affordable. They don't have to worry about the traffic of getting into Atlanta, the parking, or the higher cost. So that's, why this platform was created in essence.
Also, we sure definitely appreciate you coming on. So for the people watching today who may need property maintenance services or they want to be a part of the trade show or they just want to just follow your journey, how can they connect with you?
Sure. Okay, so if they are looking for property maintenance, they can visit my website at www.boldchanges.pm.com. They can also follow me on Instagram at bold.changes. And for East Collaboration Trade Show, they can go to East Collab.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me ask you any parting words for any business owners out there that may be in maybe the third month of the product or service business. What's one word you would tell them right now?
Just be consistent. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. Just take your time. Just enjoy the journey and let it happen because it will, you'll be successful. It's just gonna take a little time. Don't expect overnight success, but just be consistent and let it happen.
All right, Stephanie, thank you so much. Hey guys, thank y'all for tuning in to the Execution Lab. We're so excited that you tuned in. If you're still with us by this point, thank you. You reached the end. You reached the end. Make sure that you go down to the bottom and hit that subscribe button. That'll definitely help us. That'll tell the algorithm on YouTube, hey, push this out to more people that need to hear these stories.
Yeah.
So We definitely appreciate that. So until next time,
Ideas are
this is
cheap.
the Execution Lab. Go get it.
Execution phase. Welcome to the Execution Lab. This ain't talk, this ain't theory. We